Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
The floods as well.
A very good morning and welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this morning is our guest, the Deputy Mayor of the Dehiwala Mount Lavinia Municipality, Mr. Kesralal Gunasekara. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Faraz.
It's nice to have you here and you found your way.
Same here. It was so
Excellent. Kesralal, how is the flood? Has there been any effect in Dehiwala Mount Lavinia?
Minimal, I would say, when you compare it with other areas, but the quantum of damage, the extent of damage is unimaginable.
So sort of from a point of view of somebody on the outside looking in on the affected areas and so on, do you feel that the disaster management centres and the ministry are geared to deploy rapidly?
They are geared to move rapidly, but you must understand this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
And once you're hit with a fury, it's not that easy to cope. So you will always have problems. But nevertheless, the public also has come in a big way.
Yes.
And the government agencies are doing their level best.
And on our network, along with JKH and Randix, have also launched a program.
It's quite admirable.
And I went there yesterday. It was a hive of activity, put it that way.
Yes, we saw it.
And what struck me was that once again, in this island that had so much of trouble on sort of ethnic lines, it was presented that way, that the unity during adversity has been amazing.
Amazing.
It has transcended all sorts of boundaries, and the people are as one in their quest to deliver immediate relief to these victims. So that helps us put back the label proud to be Sri Lankan.
Exactly. Exactly. Of course, I must say this also. I feel just to touch on this. I feel that during the past, the joint operation group, I call it the joint destruction group, went on dashing coconuts all over the country at all places of worship, and that was basically to invoke the wrath of the demons, most probably. And I was wondering as to whether that is all this is about that, because you must understand that dashing coconuts is not something that you should do. It's very important, because these are not things that human beings do. But unfortunately, we resort to things of this nature. Who knows? The fury could be a result of that.
It could well be.
Yeah.
It could well be. A sobering thought. Now, Kesralal, you were in Parliament before.
Yes.
And so you must have followed with some, I don't know, interest or amusement.
Of course.
The events.
Interest and amusement was also there at that time as well.
The fracas a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Now then, it just seems to me that the Speaker, the Honourable Karuja Surya, for all his gentlemanly ways and so on, is also party to pulling the wool over the Republic's eyes, because he's imposed a 1-week suspension for obstructing a representative's right to conduct his business in Parliament. And so the perpetrators got 1 week suspension, and that week was when the Parliament didn't sit anyway. So I don't know, that's something very ironic about this whole thing.
For us, it's something. He's also he has to understand. He's also governed by the standing orders of Parliament.
Yes.
And I feel that it is time that the standing orders are amended, because when there is indiscipline in Parliament, especially by members of Parliament, there must be punishment which ensures that a repetition does not take place.
Exactly. There ought to be a zero tolerance of poor and underhand and sharp behavior in Parliament. It is absolutely intolerable. And we urge you, when you give your vote, to bear in mind this incident in Parliament, because it is reflective of their greater capabilities, which is zero. It was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the children will make of it.
Exactly, and children were there at that time.
There you are.
When this took place.
There you are. And then we have the Speaker, who has imposed a 1-week sentence. Which is of no consequence, and so therefore he has breached the provisions. He should have reported this matter via the Attorney General to the Supreme Court, because the standing orders are very clear that it is the Supreme Court who can look into that matter. Maybe that the Speaker also had some discretion, but I think that discretion should have been chucked in the dustbin, and firmer action should have been taken. Otherwise, we're going to have these people, the next day we'll be tying the Speaker up to a tree.
Exactly. That is all possible, yes.
Already the Speaker said that he had been subject to a death threat on the telephone, but once again he didn't look into that. So why? Is it because was there a death threat? Was there no death threat? Was it a bit of a flourish, a politician's flourish to say these things? We don't know, but it costs us $4.5 million a day. And so are you happy in a sort of perverse way that you are not in this Parliament?
Yes, in that sense, for us, I am happy, because I feel that the present day parliamentarians, the majority of them, do not understand the value of the Parliament. It was very clear. Recently there was a vote taken on a very important issue, a very important expenditure item, where everybody in Parliament should have been there, and the total number that was available was below 70.
Right.
That is less than even 1/3 of the members of Parliament.
Indeed.
If that is the response of members of Parliament towards their role, I do not know exactly where we are heading.
I don't think they take it seriously.
They don't take it seriously, because the question is this: the President, the Prime Minister, the Whip, they must understand that they must prevail upon members of Parliament to be in Parliament, because Parliament sits only for 10 days, and out of those 10 days, 8 days are very important, government business. So on all 8 days, members must be there, must be available in Parliament.
It is actually very sad.
Very sad.
Very sad to see that.
So
are you happy that you're not part of the? Honorable Lanka said that he didn't want to be part of this circus of clowns. So I had cause to remember AB's pronouncement on this, and from time to time, AB did manage to hit the nail right on the head.
Yes.
It didn't matter, I think, to him that he was also part of this circus of clowns. But he did say towards the end that he didn't want to be part of that.
Anyway, to a person outside, yes, he will invariably arrive at that conclusion. These are circus of clowns,
right?
Because they must understand they have a role to play. And if they do not play that role properly, naturally they become a set of jokers.
Well, yes, it appears that way, certainly, doesn't it? We also have, we're discussing current political strategies and events, and a small event, I hope it hasn't gone past you, but did you notice that there's a statement issued from the Prime Minister's office that hereinafter the central bank will report to Parliament its activities on the bond on a weekly basis, or whenever there was a bond. Now, Kesulal, I remain deeply suspicious. What do you make of that statement?
Well, for us, number one, we have to understand that sometime back the central bank governor came under pressure, tremendous pressure with regard to this bond deal.
Yeah.
And forget all other aspects. It is the market players who raise the objection with regard to this bond scam.
Yeah.
It is not anybody else. They are the people who really know this subject very well.
Yeah.
And they are the people who raise this issue. The Prime Minister, the onus was on the Prime Minister and the President to take into account what has taken place and take immediate action. But that did not take place. Sad to say that. That did not take place. Fine. Now the question is, if the Prime Minister's office has issued a statement that hereafter Parliament will have to be noticed with regard to all activities of the bond operation,
yeah.
that itself gives a clear indication that something has gone wrong.
Indeed, it does. It appears that, to me, it gives an impression.
Something has gone wrong, and that is why these statements need to be sent to Parliament.
And if you look at it also, we had a statement some months ago that there would be an oversight committee to look into the affairs of the foreign ministry. Now, if you remember rightly, in President Rajapaksa's tenure, we had a monitoring MP at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Who was about the minister also.
Well, he was keeping watch. But to me, there's no difference between that and the oversight committee that that has been set up to overlook this foreign minister and his team. And now we have this business where an operational element of the central bank is the public debt department will have to report
to
Parliament
each time action takes place.
I did try to call the former governor before our program to see whether I am right in thinking that this is in recent memory the first time.
Unprecedented.
I'm sure that, but I wanted somebody from inside to, but he's outside now, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Somebody with extensive knowledge on these matters to put us right. Do you think this is an attempt to appease the President's undoubted concern on matters connected to the central bank?
It could be looked in that manner as well, because the Prime Minister and the President and the Finance Minister has to understand that if the governor of the central bank, his role is a subject matter in bus halls, in trains, in bazaars.
Yeah.
He's been discussed. There's something radically wrong.
It is.
There's something radically wrong.
I went on a boat ride in Hikkadur, and the chap recognized me, and he said, what's happening to the, he said, central Mahabank Horakamak Vela. That's how he said it. I don't think he knew
exactly
the detail, but
yes.
But the perception is that there's a problem.
Exactly.
And so you're right. The whole country is thinking about it.
Yeah. It is discussed all over.
Yeah.
And therefore, the President, the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister has to take cognizance of this fact and take action, necessary action. Because you need to understand, here is a situation, you have appointed a person whose term ends.
Yeah.
There is no compulsion on the government that he has to be reappointed.
Yeah.
And with all this outcry, especially from the players of the market who know this whole operation very well, they must take into account that aspect and then decide to bring in somebody else for the next term.
Yes, that's right. We hope that the President hasn't been misled in this
because
way.
these actions, which if you say the Prime Minister's office has spelled out, these actions goes in one direction. Why? The direction is very simple. we have a problem at the central bank, therefore central bank has to report to Parliament.
Right.
It's very simple.
Let's take a short break and discuss these matters and much more after a short commercial break. Do stay tuned to Newsline.
Newsfirst, Newsline.
Welcome back to Newsline, and joining me this morning is Mr. Kesarlal Gunasekara, the Deputy Mayor of the Devala Mount Lavinia Municipality and a former parliamentarian. Kesarlal, we have been urged, our conscience has urged us to dip into our pockets, go to the supermarkets, go wherever, and buy supplies to help our fellow citizens. There was a Turkish chap who's posted something, a foreigner of Turkish origin living in Sri Lanka has posted something. He said that over there they're used to this sort of thing, but he went in to the supermarket and he was amazed at the queues. He said that in one large supermarket not far from our office, there in this very large supermarket, he counted about 4 people who were clearly doing personal shopping, and every single other queue was lengthy with people having bought all sorts of provisions that could be sent on to the victims. And he said that he found that not only were the people in Sri Lanka a resilient lot, but they were actually a united lot. So throws into question the intentions of the Chief Minister, Mr. Vigneswaran, who continuously plies for, he's completely of the view that nothing other than what they want is the answer. So I hope that Mr. Vigneswaran will be able to listen to that bit and take, recognize that sentiment. But my point being that the government needs its help. The people's conscience are helping. But in the meantime, I haven't seen any of these parliamentarians or parliament per se making any sacrifices of their own. Why do they need a second permit?
You mean to say second permit of vehicle?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Do they need the first one?
Well, it has been a tradition in Parliament that members who get elected are given a vehicle because they need to attend to their affairs.
Yes, I think the public, the Republic, will be able to understand the need to give them a permit, and once in 5 years, the public may play ball. But I don't think the public are willingly playing ball when these parliamentarians are being given another permit or a permit
Or another vehicle.
for another vehicle, irrespective of what has happened in the previous 5 years. Now that is wholly unfair. And of course, if somebody had come from the provincial system and then come into Parliament, it is conceivable that they would have 2.
Already, yes.
Because he's already had one from the provincial system. He's arrived into Parliament, he's now able to get another one. These aren't perks. You said traditions. Can I put it to you another way? Is it a tradition of cheating the people?
No.
Of using the people?
No,
Is that
definitely
the tradition?
not. That definitely not. What
But
I said
that's
is,
how it sounds.
No, for us it's very simple. For time immemorial, if you take the Parliament of Sri Lanka, barring the first maybe 10-15 years, thereafter, once the vehicle starts coming into the system, there was a decision taken by the cabinet that members of Parliament need to be given a permit so that they could import a vehicle without paying taxes. And that amount of money that had to be expended also was given by way of a soft loan from the government. And when we were there, we got that facility.
Right.
Now, that was only one vehicle. I'm sure you are referring to a news article which appeared recently.
Yeah.
That a second vehicle,
Yeah.
or a second, in other words, a second permit was going to be given to members of parliament.
Yeah.
That was a decision or discussion taken at the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, where they felt that the members of parliament, the role of members of parliament, is definitely going to expand, and hence they require another vehicle. So their decision was fundamentally to pay around 350,000 or so per month to a member of parliament to procure another vehicle,
Yeah.
in relation to this added responsibility that was coming their way. Now, I feel that's almost akin to giving about 25 million during the period of further 5.5 years to members of parliament, which they are not entitled to.
It would be far cheaper for them all to hire a vehicle from one of the rent-a-car places.
It's hiring also.
Oh,
This is the procedure. So what you do is very simple. If you are going to get a hiring price of about 350,000 per month, if all parliamentarians, what they can do is they can import their own vehicle, because you know why? You take a loan.
Yeah,
The quantum of payment per month is less than 350,000.
I see.
You can get a good vehicle.
Yeah.
So the vehicle comes cheap back again. So the exercise is to give another vehicle to members of parliament,
Yeah.
which they are not entitled to.
Now then, I want
And
to
don't
ask-
forget one thing.
Yes.
The government decided to increase the VAT because they realized the inflows were not sufficient.
That's
That's
right.
understandable.
Yeah.
That's understandable because we realized that with regard to heavy spending by
It's
the previous-
understandable, Kesral, as long as we also understand that they are not playing the system for their benefit.
Correct.
Like this second permit.
Correct.
And a permit irrespective of what happened,
Exactly.
whether they've had one or two in the past 5 years. You know, I want to ask you another question. From your knowledge, what would happen to you or me if we indulged in printing banknotes, printing money,
hauled up before court and then punishment.
so that it would be a surefire way of me ending up in Velikada?
Exactly.
Right. All right. In that case, can you tell me why it is that successive ministers of finance and presidents haven't ended up in the courts for printing money?
For printing money.
Because politicians have a habit. Now you are coming towards the twilight of your life. You're there. You sort of, you know. So you've had much of your working life and so on, and you must have put money aside, and you must have accumulated something for your retirement, for your
Yes.
children, or
Yes.
for whatever purpose,
Yes.
for the cats in your life, for who knows.
Yeah.
But the point is, you've been able to do that because you haven't spent all the money that you've earned,
Correct. That's correct.
right? Neither have you spent more money than you've earned, because it then follows that you wouldn't be able to have any savings
Exactly.
or any assets that
Exactly.
you've collected. Now then, why? So in short, it's a very simple theory. You only spend what you have to spend. You may borrow, but knowing that you can repay that too. But when you breach that barrier, as this country's politicians have done, then there's a problem. So successive governments have spent far more than they can ever hope to repay.
That's
They've missed out on this very small, basic economic fact.
correct. There is a thinking for us that if you pump money into the economy, there is acceleration as far as development is concerned.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, that is true, because if you keep on pumping money to projects which give you a return,
That's right. Yeah, that's fine.
which give you a return,
Yes.
then
But
in
they
that case
spend-
there is acceleration.
Yeah.
But then if you pump money into projects which do not give you a return, then the subsequent government is going to pay. That's the problem. That is what has gone wrong with the system. Printing money, of course, printing money to a certain degree is an exercise, a legitimate exercise of the government.
Yeah.
And you print money for various reasons. Of course, when notes are taken off the system, also you need to replace them with money for that notes. So that for that exercise alone, you have to print money.
Yes.
They are taken off the market. That happens. But at the same time, at certain points, the central bank steps in and pumps money into the system as well.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think will happen to the governor of the central bank?
Well, the indications are that he will stay on. Because I see from statements issued from various quarters, including the Prime Minister's office, that they're hell-bent on keeping him.
Is there anybody else?
This is the question. This is the question.
There you are, all you students of economics. You need to study hard and get yourself qualified and get yourself experienced, because in the future you could then become a bank of people who can apply to be the governor of the central bank. So you think that he'll stay?
Unless the president takes a firm decision. I feel the onus is on the president, and the finance minister needs to play his role. Finance minister needs to play.
But the poor chap has got his ministry split into about 3 or 4 parts.
Very unfortunate, I would say.
Yes, it's almost like he's operating with one hand tied behind his back. So he's got a tough job. But somebody's got to do it. So what do you think? Do you have hope? Will we achieve reconciliation, and will we get going, or will the joint opposition continue to stymie the efforts at progress?
No, this is exactly my point. I fundamentally feel we should move forward. We need to move forward, and we need to get together. As to whether the joint opposition is going to fall in line, it's very unlikely, because from the statements and the actions in the recent past as well. You know, the funny part is the role of a member, if you are part of the opposition, the role is to ensure that you put the government on track.
Yeah.
The role of the opposition is to put the government on track if it's going astray. But here, the role of the opposition, this particular opposition, seems to be derailing the government.
Yes.
Not putting the government on proper track.
That's right.
So their exercise is to derail.
On that note, Kesarao Gunasekara, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We appreciate your company, and we hope you'll come back on the network soon. Thank you for watching Newsline. Take care out there during these extreme weather conditions. It seems to be improving slightly.
Yes.
Thank you for watching Newsline. Have a great day. Take care, and God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukut Ali.